Welcome to Good as Gold, the podcast where we share how Olympic dreams are actually human stories. I'm Sarah Hughes, Olympic champion in figure skating 2002 Salt Lake City, and your host for this journey behind the medal. In this episode, Rowdy shares his unlikely rise from being cut from 5 different sports to becoming an Olympic champion, his memories of competing in Los Angeles in 1984, and his passion for ensuring every child learns to swim through his drowning prevention work. With his trademark energy and enthusiasm, Rowdy reminds us why sport and storytelling matter far beyond the medals. Hey!
I'm so sorry I'm late.
Oh, I'm so happy that you could make it. So no need to apologize.
Hey, it's so funny because I was on the phone with Michael Phelps, and that's why I was late. And he said, "Oh, give Sarah my best. I love her to death. We've done a lot of stuff together," and blah, blah, blah. It was the Sarah love fest.
Oh, well, I thought of you very recently because I was reading what you and Michael were doing together for talking about USA swimming and sports. And,
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
but I love it. I want to talk a little bit about that today. But if you want to.
Absolutely. I'm an open book, man. Of course. There's no question off limits. I am so excited about just chatting with you. You're like a legend. I told my wife, I go, I'm going to be on a Sarah Hughes. Sarah Hughes. Oh my God. She's like huge fan. So I'm fanboying myself. So cool. It's cool.
Do you watch the Winter Olympics too?
Oh, so I've been to every Summer Olympics since 1984. Well, I didn't go to Seoul, in 88, but I've been to everyone since. And, but I've never been to a Winter Games. Never been. No. But to your question, so that means I'm glued to the set for 16 straight days on every Winter Olympic Games. I love them. I'm like your typical fan. I watch it every night. My whole family, my wife and I, we watch every night.
I'm an obsessive Olympic fan as well.
Yeah.
But before I was in it, I mean, from when I was
right. Yeah. Same here.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've been to a few summer games, and it is as a spectator or as going to events, it is easier to get around
for the summer
of locations for the summer.
Yeah,
because the winter, you have the mountains, and a lot of the things are just far from each other.
Right. I have heard that. I've heard that fact that it's much easier on the Summer Olympics. Although I heard that winter is more compact, and so it's not as spread out, except for the mountains, I guess. That it's more intimate. I've heard about the Winter Olympics. That's who knows.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when you get to the venues or you see the events. I mean, I guess I've been to, besides when I competed in, 3 Winter Games, and they were all amazing.
Right.
So, I'm hoping to go to Milano Cortina in February. I'm not 100% sure of my plans yet.
Who she is?
I think there aren't really that many Olympic in general podcasts.
Right. You're right.
So
that's cool.
Really
awesome.
Sport specific. So that's
it was very odd.
That's a fun. Well, thank you. Okay, so the format I kind of do is a warm-up questions.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your career in sports, talk about your life after,
mm-hmm.
and if there's anything else you're interested in. But I mean, it's really human interest stories, how you got interested in the sport, what the sport was like when you were doing it, what you think of it now, and that's the overall gist. I mean, of course, I have a million questions, but I was doing some research.
You lead the way. I bet you're kind of excited about Salt Lake in 2034. That'd be really cool for you. It's like LA for me in 3 years.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
I'm
mean,
flapping my mouth.
yeah.
You go ahead. We go ahead and get started. I did.
Well, if I come to Salt Lake, I'll let you know. So when was the last time you wore your gold medals?
All three of them. Boy, I think the last time I wore all three of them would have been the Olympics in '84. Because what happened, Sarah, was I ended up giving one to my father and then one to my mother and then one to my coach after I had won them. And so they were all kind of separated for many years. And, my mom and coach have since passed away and I've gotten them back. But one of them is actually at the Olympic Hall of Fame in Colorado Springs. So I've never really had all three of them together in many, many years. Many years. I can't remember the last time I wore all three of them. I don't like to wear them anyway. I don't know about you, but I feel ostentatious, I guess, wearing them. I like putting them on other people's neck, That's what's fun.
Yeah, I mean, Peekaboo. I did an event with her one time, and she brought she had from a few different games, and it was actually pretty cool to see the different ones from
It
different
is.
games.
Oh, it's so cool. And
yeah.
Winter Olympic medals are always so cool anyway. The ones I've seen, they're so different, they're so unique. And yeah, so I love looking at other people's medals. I dig it. I take pictures, I put them on. It's really cool. I love it.
What about like pre-competition routines? Did you have a lot of superstitions?
The only superstition I had was right before my race, I had to lay down and put my feet up because somebody once told me the blood rushes out of your legs and it gives your legs better strength. So I had this, it's a superstition. Who knows whether it was true 40 years ago, but I always put my feet up. I laid down and like for 10 minutes had my feet up. That was the only major superstition. And I didn't have any meals or anything like that were special, but I did have that for sure. And I have to do, when I warm down, I have to do double arm backstroke. That's a superstition before I get out of the water. I still have that today. Every day, I can't get out of the water unless I do like 8 strokes, double arm backstroke. So stupid.
4 decades later.
Yeah.
Still
do it.
So you swim every day?
Every day. Yeah.
Wow.
Not much.
Must be in amazing shape. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not in good shape, Sarah. I mean, I swim about a mile and a half a day, where when I was training, I was swimming, I don't know, 6 to 10 miles a day. So it's a big difference. And I just go back and forth. I don't do anything hard or anything, but it's my form of exercise. I don't do anything else.
But I mean, you've been covering the Olympics for so many years now and so many Olympics. Like, what's been your favorite moment? They're calling it, or as a spectator? I know you talk about the, the relay you called in Beijing. Or sorry, it was the
Oh, that's it.
Freestyle. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah,
Is that
definitely.
just?
Well, no, the relay, if you know the background of the relay, I mean, everybody kind of knows, if you're an Olympic fan, the Jason Lezak, the anchor, Michael Phelps. We were just talking about our friend Michael and is going for 8 gold medals and all that. But they, to put it in perspective, they did an 1.5-hour documentary on this race. It was a 3-minute race. Peacock did an 1.5-hour documentary on it. So it was that. And the name of the documentary is literally The Greatest Race. So for me, it was certainly the most incredible moment that I've ever called, on the 9 Olympic Games I've done. That was the highlight for sure. I mean, there've been a lot of highlights. But as far as favorite Olympic Games, it's measured differently for me. So my personal favorite was Paris, Sarah, just because it was so much easier on me. I didn't have to call prelims, which was awesome. So I got more rest. I wasn't at the pool 18, 20 hours a day. I'm not complaining, but you're dug in there for 9 straight days. And then, and our hotel was across the street, which was awesome from the pool. But my favorite Olympics was Beijing, just because of Michael and the chase for 8 gold medals. And, it was so historic in so many ways.
When I was reading about you talking about Tokyo and somebody asked you, are you going to miss are you going to miss going to a lot of other events? You were just like, my life is the pool. Like when I get to the Olympics, I'm just at the pool all the time.
It is true.
Let me, I think I wrote down, you said, where?
It is true.
You said, I'm here to cover swimming. I don't go to any other sports. I don't do anything else on the previous, X number of Olympics that I've been to except swimming. So for me, the quarantine doesn't hit me too hard because my focus is really on swimming.
It's true. It is true. that the whole COVID Olympics, it wasn't a big deal to me because all I do is go back and forth from the pool anyway. But having said that, so the Olympics, as you know, it's 16 days long, right? And the swimming is now the first 9 days. So yeah, I mean, I'm all in. I live at the pool for, 9 straight days. But when swimming's over with, I go to other events. I mean, I get to hang out in Paris. My wife and daughter were there, and we got to go to other events after it was all over with. So I get to enjoy some of it. With the open water is also after the swimming, so I cover that. So there's not a lot of time, but yeah, we go to some events. But that first week or so of the games, man, World War III could be going on around me, Sarah. I would have no idea. I mean, world news. I don't know anything about. I follow sports. I follow my Chicago Cubs every day. I wouldn't know if that team just got banned forever during those 9 days of swimming. I literally just eat, sleep, and drink swimming for 9 days.
I mean, you're highly lauded as one of the best announcers and best commentators. How do you prepare for the Olympics, and that you're, such a swimming expert and insider, but a lot of your audience are also people who tune in once every 4 years?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Did it take you a while to find the balance of how you would? Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It did. I didn't know what I was doing. Actually, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I mean, I know there are so many more people out there that could do my job, that know so much more about swimming, especially today. I'm getting up in years and I don't know as much about the sport, but nobody can deny that I love it more than anybody else. And I think that's one reason why NBC hires me so much, because I show that passion, and I try to show that passion to somebody like you that tunes into the Summer Olympics, that doesn't know anything about swimming. And I just want to show them, how great our sport is, at least for those 9 days every 4 years that they watch. So I try to do my homework. I call other events during the year. I call, 10 or 12 events during the year. So that kind of keeps me fresh with the current athletes and knowing, the sport. But I just love swimming, man. It changed my life dramatically. And that's what I try to relate to the average viewer watching. They could care less about splits and stroke technique and all that. They want to know, and as you know, I mean, they want to know the stories of the athletes. They want to know how they got there. They want to know how their mother, like Annie Laser's father, passed away, right before the Olympic trials back in 2020 or 21. And, they want to know how she overcame that, and how Lily King, her teammate, was there for her. These are the stories that Dan Hicks, my partner for 8 of those Olympics, that's what we try to do, is share those stories with the audience. And they loved your story. I mean, you're the perfect example of what the Olympics is all about. It's like, nobody expected anything from you. 2002, nobody knew who you were. I mean, in the ice skating world, in the figure skating world, obviously, but But, in general, and all of a sudden you come along and just like you were perfect. And that's a cool story, just some young kid that comes out of nowhere. That's just a great story.
I'm getting goosebumps hearing you talk. And that, like, I lived it. I don't get goosebumps from it
No,
anymore, but
brother.
now I'm like, oh, yeah. So
So true, man.
that's a talent you've honed.
My wife
Uh,
and I'll never forget it. 2002, I'll never forget sitting in front of the TV because my wife loves figure skating. I do too. But, but because I'm a swimmer, I'm more black and white, so track and field, things that kind of measured are a little bit more my style. But my wife, she's addicted. I mean, she watches it. But I remember watching you in 2002. We were talking about the pressure you must have had competing on home soil. And then I started relating to you and what you were going through. And so we became your biggest cheerleader.
Oh, thank you. No, I felt so much support. And just like
Yeah.
when I got on the ice for the warm up, it was just the crowd went nuts. I mean, when you were in LA in '84, did you feel that support from the crowd?
Absolutely. No question about it. I think that was a big part of why I won was I know it sounds corny, but I really felt that energy from the crowd, man. I felt, most people I ever swam in front of, Sarah, was probably like 20. And all of a sudden there's 20,000, in this big arena in LA and, or not arena, but outdoor stadium. And so I just felt the electricity and cause I wasn't the best swimmer in '84. We could have swum that race 10 times and I would have lost 9 of them. I should have been 4th or 5th. But that one perfect moment and everything worked out perfect on my start. But not to digress, but it really was that the energy of that crowd that helped me form.
The point of this is to hear your
Yeah.
your stories. So
Yeah.
not to digress. It's not the opposite. Please digress.
No.
I mean, so you got your start or you started commentating in the early '90s, and it was kind of, I don't want to say reality TV, but it was like celebrities competing against each other. Did you think then that, a lot of TV and sports would become more entertainment oriented?
No. I had no idea. My first gig in broadcasting was in 1985. It was about a year after the games. And this little fledgling network that nobody had ever heard of called ESPN called and asked me to do the commentating on the Battle of the Network Stars, which was this thing way back when where, these celebrities competed against each other from different networks. And I called the swimming part of it. And that was the beginning of it. Really, it was just like a one-off. But then I got called to do a couple swim races here or there. I did the Goodwill Games. You're too young to remember those, but that was a Ted Turner thing, and that led me to doing the triple cast in 1992 for NBC, which was sort of the cable side of things. And then I did my first over there in '96 in Atlanta with Dan Hicks, and then we've done it ever since.
Well, I do remember the Goodwill Games, and
Oh, do you?
they actually did have a Goodwill Games in Long Island, New York, where I'm from, in 1998.
Yes, I called those.
So I was just coming up, and I remember we tried to get into the figure skating competition, but they
Right.
and they had an age thing, so they let me skate in the exhibition, and it was like the highlight of my life for so many years after too.
Right. Oh, that's
Because
so cool.
yes, yeah,
So cool. I did
it was
not
a
realize that.
huge
That's
deal
right.
for me.
98 was Long Island. Your home territory. That's right. I've forgotten about that.
So looking to, LA 28, how much of the swimming commentary and swimming competition turns a little more towards the entertainment aspect? Because I mean, I think people are already entertained by the swimming, and Paris Snoop Dogg was huge, at
Yeah.
least in the coverage, for cheering on Team USA.
Yeah.
So, how do you keep that balance as well? I mean,
Well,
I
I
guess
mean,
the swimming's like you have so many events.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's people lose track of how it's sort of like track and field. There's just so many different events. And then so many different strokes and distances. It's hard to keep track of everything, especially if you don't know much about the sport. So, you just take it one day at a time. Um, it is about entertaining the audience, but I'll go back to much more than the entertaining side because there's not, figure skating is real, true entertainment. It's like gut wrenching entertainment in many ways, right? Swimming is just back and forth, and the swimmers are in the water, so you can't see their faces. You can't see the pain on their faces. You can see all of that as a figure skater. And so it is a little different. You have to call it sort of, as I said before, black and white. It's sort of like, there and back, whoever does it fastest. Um, that's why you have to create the personalities. Gary Hall was a great personality in our sport, came out in boxing shorts and boxing gloves. And, so we create these personalities. We create these stories of like, this person has been second so many times. Can they actually get over the hump and actually win a gold medal? And then we try to put it in perspective saying a silver medal is awesome. Just making the Olympics is awesome. And it's like, I mean, there's been, can't remember the number. It was some weird number, but there's, been the history of the Olympics and all the countries in the whole world since 1896, like only like 70,000 Olympians. When you think about that, it's a very small number. And so it should be a big honor. But unfortunately in our country, a gold medal is a gold medal, it's something our country expects
You think for swimming?
for any
What is
sport.
made that for any sport? So when I was doing, like, look, when I was watching Paris, it's just, watching Katie Ledecky is mind blowing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like hard to relate to somebody and it was the same with Phelps. It was like they were just so dominant.
Yeah.
But you did have stories because, with Phelps going for the 8 gold medals, and now Katie, it seems, has some competition.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, swimming is one of the few sports I think that U.S. has been dominant in. What was it? It said something I was reading. Tell me if I'm wrong, by the way.
I will, for sure.
Not everything that goes to print is accurate. Said they've been #1 in swimming since 1956.
This is true.
So Paris, the U.S. only won 8 golds. 2 of them were Katie and an individual.
Right.
But then, recently now in the news is about the World Championships in swimming and how, but the U.S. was still top in the medal table, 9 golds, 29 medals.
Yeah.
So it says like they're still outperforming. But then I was reading something else because I've done a lot of schooling, but I've never been a collegiate athlete.
Right.
I love college sports. That was like one of the things I loved about being at Stanford, is that I could watch so many sports. And it's not like the U.S. isn't super strong in distance swimming, the longer. But then, I mean, we have Katie, who's a distance swimmer.
Right.
But it's because the NCAA, like, they have so many relays that they'd rather take a lot of, I don't want to say mediocre, because I'm sure these people, the swimmers who are, being recruited are you know, be top in another country.
All right.
But they prefer to take them over, the top distance swimmer.
Right. And all of what you just said is absolutely true. A college coach will recruit and again, I use that term loosely, a mediocre sprinter over a good distance swimmer because of relays. And the coach has to concentrate on their job. Their job is to do the very best they can at the highest level. And that, unfortunately, relays count double points. So they become that much more important. And there are a lot more sprinting events than there are distance events. So yeah, that is true. But going back to about the Olympics, you're right.
Yeah.
Since 1956. Now, Australia will argue that, Sarah, because their rule of thumb is only gold medals. If they win the gold medal count, they're the number one country in the world. They don't care about our system of measuring or my system. My system is the right system, by the way. Everybody else is wrong. My system's very simple. It's true. Gold medals, definitely. Overall medals. I mean, if you watch our broadcast, any Olympic broadcast, they put number one on overall medals. They don't put number one with gold medals, right? We've always done that. So 2 is overall medals. And in swimming, we have a point system. You get a certain amount of points for your depth, not necessarily medals, but how many people you put in the finals. And it's a point system. We've won 2 out of, I see this is really boring, but we've won 2 of those 3.
No, this is not boring. Like, this is why I was just, when I'm watching, this is why I tune in.
Yeah. So we've won 2 of those 3 since 1956. So if you measure it that way, but Australia, 2 years, back in 2002, and I think in 91, not at the Olympics, but at the World Championships, they won more gold medals. So they count that as, being the number one country in the world. But with our system, we have been, which is pretty astounding, regardless, however you think about it, to be the number one country in a sport for 70 years. Name another sport or name a team or anything where somebody's been number one for 70 years. You can't. There's no way. There's no other sport. Cricket, whatever it is, nobody's been number one for 70 years. So we have that great tradition of excellence for sure.
How do you think it was developed?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that it was developed that the U.S. would be able to, attract people to? So you started swimming, that it seemed to me quite older, because a lot of figure skaters, their careers, towards the end when they're in their late teens.
Yeah, I started when I was 17. Yeah.
Did you know that, like, right when you got in the water, that this would be your, like, a huge part of your life?
It wasn't right when I got in the water. I would say within a couple weeks, like, I knew this was going to be my sport. I didn't think about the Olympics, but I thought, because I had been cut in 5 other sports before swimming. So my hope was just not to be cut, in a high school sport. So once I didn't get cut, then I thought, oh, good, I get to actually swim on a team, or I get to participate on this team for the season. And then I just, it's kind of boring. I just got a little better every single day. And I think within 2.5 years of the day I went out for the swim team I broke my first world record. So it happened pretty fast, for sure. It happened fast. And, but I was born and raised in Florida, Sarah. It's sort of like Long Island, and you're surrounded by water, at least in the summers for you. Water's part of your DNA in a way. Well, for me, it's definitely part of my DNA. I grew up in a town called Winter Haven, which was like 80% water. It's 120 lakes just alone in the town. So I grew up around water all my life. I just didn't start competitive swimming until later on.
But then you decided you were going to focus on it. Were you recruited?
No. I was a junior, and no. I wrote back then. There's no online stuff, so I probably wrote 40 or 50 colleges to ask them what I needed to do to get a scholarship to your school. I had no preference. I just wanted to be able to. My parents didn't have a lot of money, and I knew they weren't going to be able to afford to send me to college, and I wanted to, earn a scholarship. And I just wrote these colleges and asked them, and I had two wrote me back: Auburn and a school called Western Kentucky, and then Auburn, just started. The coach there, Eddie Reese, is a legendary coach now. Today, he's the winningest college coach in history, and he was my coach my freshman year, and he just started telling me things I needed to do, and I did it. I just became obsessed. I snuck into motels to swim in the morning, and I'd go to the library and check books out about swimming, and I just became addicted to do anything I could to just get better.
And then you started becoming a world record holder. How did you did you do, and this is just, I guess, a basic swimming question. Do you try all the strokes and then think like, this one, I think I can be really, like I can be in the top in this one?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Yep. When it first started, I didn't know how to do a flip turn, swim with my head out of the water. I didn't know what a pair of goggles. I swim in, jean cutoffs, shorts, jean shorts, cutoffs. And so all of that took a while to explore and understand. But eventually I found out that, freestyle was the stroke that I really wanted to be good in. That I was the best in too. I stunk in everything else. I still do.
It's kind of hard to believe though, that you can do one stroke so proficiently.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is freestyle is sort of the crawl stroke. People understand it as the crawl. That's the most common stroke, right? Except maybe breaststroke, So it's the one I grew up doing on my lake. We'd water ski all day long, and then we'd play tag under the docks and stuff like that. And you just do freestyle, and or crawl, but with the head out of the water. So I kind of came natural to me. My father was a good swimmer. My mom was a good athlete. So I think I certainly, the genes helped a lot. But I think it's anything, man. If you fall in love with something, you're going to figure out how to be successful at it. And that's what I try to tell people, kids, when I talk to kids. I mean, you don't have to love it every single second, but I really believe if you find something that you really enjoy doing and that you want to be successful, and you'll figure out how to get it done, no matter how difficult the task may be. So that's the way I kind of felt as a kid in high school. And to be honest with you, I don't talk about it much, but I after I failed in my fifth sport, I had gone out for the tennis team and got cut. I started kind of going down a path that I probably am not too proud of today. I wasn't doing anything bad, but I could tell things were skewing that way potentially. And I didn't want to end up pumping gas at the local gas station instead of going to college. I just said, man, I got to figure out something else to do. And so swimming was it. In fact, I felt, Sarah, like I was going to get cut from the swim team because, this was a sick sport. I just got to figure. So I had gone to the library the day after I tried out for swimming and looked up track and field and tried to figure out what events I could do in track and field that I thought, well, okay, track and field tryouts were next. So I wasn't going to give up. That's for sure.
Do you remember the high school coach who put you on the team?
Bill Woolwine. Never forget him. Still alive today. Still friends. He was the football coach. He had already cut me once in football. Um, and he said he was going to cut me in swimming, but that he felt sorry for me because he had already done it in football. So he kind of let me hang in there for a couple of weeks. Um, and I remember swimming my first meet, and I was terrible. He put me in the 500 freestyle, which is the longest event in high school. And, the 8-year-olds were beating me. But I swam a 50 on a relay, not an A, B, C, or D relay, but an E relay, which meant I was on there with a couple band members, chess club guy. And, but I went pretty fast. And that from that moment on, he said, you know what? I'm not going to cut you. You may have a little talent here.
Wow. Did he follow you along? Like, did you stay in touch throughout your career?
I did. Yeah, sure did. Sure did.
Wow.
He didn't know much about swimming either. He was a football coach. He did it because he had to. Nobody else could do it. So he said, well, I'll do it. So we kind of learned together the 2 years that I swam with him. And we both got better at what we did. He didn't do as much of a deep dive as I did, but yeah, I don't stay in touch with him as much anymore. But yeah, if I ever go to Winter Haven and, there's been a couple times here and there I've seen him. I mean, we're still good friends. We don't have any reason not to be friends. He was my first coach.
How is the training different? I mean, so this is actually a pretty unbelievable story because I feel that's very different than what we hear about today's, swimmers who make the world and Olympic level.
Yeah.
Or even, I guess, the national team is that it's a much, organized training start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or regimen.
I don't know what it's like in figure skating, but most swimmers will start in that, 6 to 10 age range and work their way up, I just didn't follow that path.
So now, like, after high school, you're Auburn, you become one of the best swimmers in the world. We know what happened at the 80 games, the U.S. boycotted. Yeah, I imagine absolutely devastating. What made you, like, what gave you I wouldn't say necessarily strength, but like the courage, the desire to go try for 4 years later? Because that's a long time.
Yeah, I think it was again, it was kind of a daily routine. It wasn't like I didn't have this vision of 4 years. At that age when you're 20, 21 years old, all you care about is today. You don't really think about your future. You just think, okay, how can I figure out how to get through today and maybe tomorrow? And so I was a junior in college when the boycott happened. So I had my senior year to think about, and swimming on that college team was like a fraternity. So I had my senior year, and then I retired after my senior year. I quit for about 6 months, and then just realized after 6 months that I think it would be really hard to look in the mirror the rest of my life and say, what if? You know what I mean? Like, how am I going to listen to the national anthem or watch the Olympic Games on TV or see the Olympic rings without saying, God, what if I had gone for it, So I just figured at that point, 3 years out of my life, when I'm hoping to live to 80 or 90, was not going to be that devastating, and that I was going to have to make some major sacrifices because after college, there's no money in swimming. And back in 1980, by the way, in fact, we weren't allowed to accept money, not only in college, but even post college. Swimming was truly an amateur sport. So I knew it was going to be rough, but I had a coach who was like my second father, and he believed in me, and that's all I needed.
So, I mean, I mean, I don't want to skip the whole 1984 Olympics, but now when you're standing on top of the podium in LA on home soil, what's going for the first gold medal? What's going, because you won 3 there, what's going through your mind?
Well, I think, Sarah, for me, it's a bit complicated because the race itself was dictated. I don't know how to say this in a matter of 60 seconds, but so my start was one that I went down really slow. And I did the track start where I put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I was the first swimmer ever to do that, and the only swimmer in LA to do that. And, but the starter in the Olympics, I swam the 3rd day. Okay. There's 3 starters that start, and then they change out. This one starter that started the first day, it was really fast. This guy from Panama. And my coach saw that starter, and he came to me and said, "We have to change your start." I go, "What?" I've been working on this specific start for 2 straight years. Every single day after practice for 15 minutes, I would do nothing but that start. And you're telling me after 2 years of doing this, I've got to change it in one day? Why? And then he told me, if you get this starter, you're going to be left on the blocks. Anyway, fast forward, he was the starter. I came down fast. I nailed my start, and I won the gold medal. And it was because of my coach, because I never would have seen it. And so that my coach, Richard Quick, God rest his soul, was the reason. So my whole thought process, getting back to your question, was being on the award stand, was how thankful I was to my coach for telling me about that starter at that point. And like you, Sarah, man, what a great moment, right? When you hear your national anthem in your home country. Pretty cool moment, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to put in words. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you're underdog. I mean, it's hard to call you an underdog because
No, I was. I was, no question. By that time, I was way past my prime. You know how Sports Illustrated used to come out and pick the winners of all the events and stuff, and they didn't even pick me winning a medal. So, yeah. And like you, I mean, you were young. Nobody picked you to win. And, so yeah, you're definitely the underdog, which made it even sweeter. But it wasn't so much that as like, oh man, just to sing the national anthem in your home country is a feeling that's so difficult to describe. People ask me about it all the time, and the memories are starting to fade a little bit. I mean, it's 40 years ago, 41 years ago, and so it's like you start to forget some of the memories, but I do remember how special it was. Be able to do it in your home country was unbelievable.
Do you think about that for LA 28, when you'll be there calling it, and, if USA Swimming continues to be somewhat dominant, it's like a mirror 44 years later. Or is it just like the Americans don't have that many underdogs now?
Well, I think every race the Americans expect to win, or expect to be there for a medal. I mean, it's just tradition. We've had this tradition of excellence. And there were so many different factors in what happened at the World Championships. The team really got sick, major sickness, as we've come to understand. And you don't want to make excuses, but that was definitely a reason why they underperformed in certain events. But I think I got called out a lot on this comment I made about entitlement. Like, we feel like we're entitled to be there in the finals. We're entitled. And unfortunately, the rest of the world's kind of caught up with us, because I felt that way. I mean, when I swam in LA in the preliminaries, I thought, I'm going to make the finals, no problem. It's just an entitlement. And I think we've always kind of had that attitude, which is one reason why we've been so good. But the rest of the world is caught up in many ways, in many different events. So it's not as easy for us. And I just think that the attitude needs to change a little bit to where we can't take risks. We just can't take risks anymore, what we do, and try it in our preparation and also in the preliminaries. Not that the kids were taking risks at Worlds, they weren't, but I think overall the sport needs to do a better job in supporting the athletes. I don't think we've done a good enough job in supporting the athletes, specifically over the last year. We've been kind of in this frozen state because we haven't had a CEO in a year. And that's hurt our sport. But we're getting ready to name one, I think, and we got 3 years to figure this out, but that's not a long time, as you know.
What's your relationship with the current swimmers? Like, I
I
mean,
think,
do you call a lot of events during the year, or is
oh
it
yeah,
just
oh yeah.
mainly?
No,
Yeah,
no,
so
I'm on great terms with the swimmers. Um,
yeah.
I have probably half of their phone numbers and text back and
Mhm.
forth with most of them. In fact, I just got a text from Reagan Smith a couple days ago, and you know, I'm in touch with Ryan Murphy and Caleb Russell and Katie, and we stay in touch. And I think I think it helps me a lot by calling the different races at the different locations, because you're down on the deck and you're talking to them. But I think LA will probably be my last one. I've kind of thought that it would be a nice way to kind of go out, full circle and all that stuff with LA. Be a nice way to wrap things up.
Does your family come? Or I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
mentioned your family came to Paris, but for LA, I mean,
Oh
well,
yeah.
some of your daughters, your grandchildren.
Yeah, we're
I
trying to
mean, that's
work
such
on
like a
that.
meaningful thing for you
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
because
it is.
that's I mean,
I'm
look,
trying to
I
get my
have
granddaughter to do an
yeah.
internship, be a runner, you know, because she'll be that perfect age. She's 16 now, so she'll be, 18, 19 years old, and it's a perfect age to be a runner. And so I'm going to try to get her for that. And my wife Judy and I have talked about, hey, we need to blow this one out, especially if it's going to be my last one, and have all the kids be there. Hopefully the grandkids, it'll be fun because they'll all be older. Our youngest grandchild is 8 years old. So I think they'll all be old enough to understand what an Olympic Games really is all about.
At the perfect age,
Yeah.
11
Yeah.
or around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
For sure.
amazing. Were you involved in the bid
No,
for 28? No.
no. I mean, I supported it. I did
Yeah.
videos for them and,
Mhm.
did interviews and stuff, but no, I was not on the organizing committee. Janet Evans, who obviously, and
Yeah.
such a dear person and just a dear, dear friend. And we stay in touch quite often. And she is Miss LA 2028. So she's doing a great job. And she's really been the impetus in so many ways in putting on a great Olympics in 28 and getting those Olympics as well. But she lives out there too.
For many, many years. Actually, her daughter's a swimmer.
Yeah. She
Her
just
daughter's
took
a competitive swimmer.
Yes, just took Sydney to Princeton. She started at Princeton this fall.
Did any of your kids, or did they have an interest in competitive swim? No.
They all tried it. I thought, they all were talented. My oldest swam in high school a little bit. But no, they never, they were involved with so many other things, a lot of it, the art side of things. Um, and, they were in the high school band and I mean, in the art club, the drama club, I mean, all kinds of different, activities they did, but swimming never was real attractive to them. And as a parent, you'll find this out, Sarah. There's this fine line between shoving and nudging, right? And I wasn't very good at this, I was always kind of good at this, but I think plus I've always been a little bit, having 4 daughters, I've always been the one talk about entitlement, being guilty of that. Unfortunately, we have my wife to be able to kind of keep order in the house, or otherwise there would be no order with me running the show.
I mean, look, I don't know, I love just doing everything with my daughter right now, but
Yeah.
it's so hard to say no to her. She doesn't really talk much yet,
Wow.
but I
18
just
months. You're not going to
have,
say no to a 19-month-old. Are you kidding me? 19-month is always yes from both sides. Do you want her to be a figure skater?
uh, I want her to know how to skate.
Right.
This sport's so different now than when I was competing.
Oh, really?
And for
In a good way or
for
bad way?
I would say it's different.
Right, right.
Uh,
Is it from
and
the stress of the financial part of things?
so it's for first of all, the barrier to entry is much, much higher.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I grew up, I'm half Canadian, and so
Oh,
we
I
grew
didn't
up on
know
the
that.
ice, and we were always, and my parents moved to like a place where there's a community rink, 5 minutes from our house, and I had 2 older brothers, and my dad was a hockey nut, so we were just always at the rink, and it was accessible and not super expensive. I would say though, that right now there's a culture problem.
Uh,
And so if my daughter was gonna, or a culture that I would not want her to necessarily be exposed to alone.
right.
So, if we were able to, you know, have her, have a team for her, support her along the way individually, as opposed to having to rely on, um, organizational stuff already set up within the sport. But look, I mean, she's so young. Who knows what she's gonna want to do? I am asked that question though a lot. Like, are you gonna have her skate? And so the answer right now is probably
You
not. But
don't
who
know.
knows?
Yeah, you don't
You don't
know.
know. I mean, right now we
She's
don't
going to be
live in
looking at
a.
video of you and say, Mom, I want to do that. And you go, okay, here we go.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. She
Yeah.
look, she doesn't know much about it yet. I hope to bring her to an Olympics soon. Or sports. I mean, when we were at Stanford, we just took her to sporting things all the time. I went to
Right.
tennis, went to softball, we went to baseball. Um, and we loved it. I mean, I want her to, when you're very competitive and trying to get that extra, 5-10%
Mhm.
after you've reached a certain level, it's your
Mhm.
whole life to the exclusion of everything else,
Mhm.
to did you find that in swimming that when you were on take to the next level, it's just you know, your whole focus? Was it conscious or did you just, go deeper and deeper?
Yeah, it was just, you know, it's like school, you start off in kindergarten and first grade's a little harder and second grade's a little harder. And that was just the way it was with me. You just understand that things are going to get a little bit more challenging, a little bit more difficult as you start to move up the ranks. I didn't have that age group experience, where you have 10 and under, 11 and 12. And I'm not sure if they have that in figure skating, but there's an age group experience that most swimmers go through. I never had that. So I didn't really have that progression, flow progression of age groups. Mine happened pretty fast, obviously. And so I didn't have a lot of time to think. I had to be pretty fast on my feet on what to do and how to handle it. But I had great
And,
coaches.
yeah. And you had a super quick trajectory up.
Yeah, I did. I did.
I will say something about the athletes today, though. That is maybe my comment about the culture and skating is a little harsh, but uh, the athletes today and the skaters today are much more open about supporting each other, about mental health,
Oh,
about things for their own well-being, which
absolutely.
completely changes the game and
Yes.
makes it much more enjoyable also, to be part of, to watch, to support, because they talk about things that are a lot more about being human.
Yes.
Because when we're watching, we're seeing things that um hard to imagine us to do.
Yes.
And they're
No
just,
question. Yeah. We didn't have that. It maybe was in its infant stages with you, but we didn't have any kind of mental health um, help. We, it was a completely different animal and a completely different time. And I also think there was no, again, I go back, different for you, but for me, there was no money in swimming. Between 1982 and 1984, I moved to Austin, Texas, and because my coach had moved down there. And my daily routine, Sarah, for 2 years was 6 to 8 in the morning swim, 9 to 3 sleep, 3 to 6, something like that in the afternoon swim. And from, I had the 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. shift at the Hyatt Regency in Austin, Texas as a night clerk because I had to make money. So that was my daily routine every day. I had the overnight shift at the Hyatt Regency right there in Austin, Texas, still there. So it is a completely different sport today because athletes can actually make a living swimming. Most of them don't make a lot of money. The average swimmer makes like $25,000 a year. And they're not getting rich. But if you're really good at it, you could definitely make a living. We couldn't.
when you were chief fundraising and alumni officer for USA Swimming,
Uh-huh.
what was your best pitch to people? Like, what would turn conversations into contributions?
Well, for me, and this is what I do now, because I work for an organization called the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance, and I run a philanthropic initiative called Step Into Swim. And what we do is we raise money, Sarah, and this is very important for you. So I'm speaking to you as a mother. Drowning is the number one cause of death in children ages 1 to 4. It's the number one killer of children, ages 1 to 4. It's the number 2 reason for unintentional death for children ages 5 to 14. So it really is an epidemic in our country. So we found the cure, though. The cure literally is swimming lessons. When you put your child in swim lessons, it reduces that risk of drowning by about 90%. So my goal is to have a child take swim lessons, and if their parent goes and answers the door or checks a text message, by the way, 80% of drownings happen in front of an adult. When a child drowns, it's usually when an adult is present. But because of this right here, they become distracted, and a child can drown in as little as 20 seconds. It can only take 20, it can take longer, but it could take as little as 20 seconds for a child to drown, to die. So if you send a text sometime and count how long it takes, that's how long it can take. So I beg parents, never take your eye off your child, Sarah, and put them in swim lessons. That will literally save their lives. So getting back to your question about the foundation at USA Swimming, and now what I do presently with Step Into Swim, that's my pitch, is you're saving lives. When you donate to us, we take 100% of that money and we give it out to swim lesson providers around the country to teach swim lessons. There's my 3-minute pitch it's not a pitch, it's reality. So, um, I feel this has become my life now the last 20 years, and will continue to do until I retire.
I mean, that's very important.
Yeah. And I know
Wow.
certain areas of the country, if you live in, South Dakota and, you live out in a farm, you're not really worried about drowning and worrying about that. But, where do you live?
We're in New York right now.
Yeah. So in New York, you're not having that much worries, because of the city. You live in the city.
We're in the city, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's still important because you're going to vacation and more than anybody else right now, Sarah, because you can testify to this. When a child learns, because I get asked, well, what age should I put my kid in swim lessons? Well, you know this more than anybody. When a child learns how to walk, they're going to escape from you, right? It's like a whole new world for them. And that's what happens is the child just slips out of the house and walks next door, or, gets into a hot tub or for that matter, a bathtub. And it's tragic. I've met too many families that have lost a child to drowning, and it breaks my heart. I get a Google alert when a child drowns. I get 4 or 5 a day. Yeah.
And that's one of my worst fears.
Yeah. So it should be. I don't know about a fear, but it should be a recognition.
How many lessons does it take for a child 1 to 4 to learn how to float? Or to
every kid is different. That's what I'll take my kids, my grandchildren. One of them learned, she did it automatically. She just rolled on her back automatically, and it was a piece of cake, 18 months old or whatever. And another one, it took a few lessons. It's just every child is different. Normally, to learn the life-saving skill, the skill you want your daughter to learn is the skills. If they fall in the water, they float on their back. They turn over on their back. Because if they can do that, they're not usually gone from the parent more than 2 minutes, right? So if they can learn to float on their back, the parent's going to find them. Plus they can scream and stuff and, cry or whatever. So that skill is not hard to learn. Even as an 18 to 24-month-old, it's really not that hard. But every kid is different, every kid is different. On average, 3 to 5 lessons.
Yeah,
but that's an average.
Get on her back.
Yeah.
Flip over to the back.
Most important.
Hopefully she will never be in that position, but
no.
I guess that's like what every parent thinks.
You know who Bodie Miller is?
I know Bodie was in my Olympics. Yes, absolutely. It's a devastating story, right?
Yeah, heartbreaking. He and his wife lost a little one to drowning, and but I only bring him up because it can happen to anybody. It's just one of those things. Like you think, oh, it'll never happen to me. We don't live near water. When we go swimming, I'm always around, which is true, but it doesn't take much. And you know what? I don't know about you, but the greatest joy of my life was around water. I mean, the greatest joy as a parent and as a grandparent are when my kids and I are in a pool, or my grandchildren. They just came over and swam a couple days ago, and we were in the pool together. It was so much fun. So it should be a place for joy. You just need to recognize that it's really important to be safe in and around the water. That's all. Just recognize it, and then you have no problem.
We're going to be signing up for swim lessons.
Good for you. Not too early. It's not too early. 19 months is about the age that you can think about it. Yeah, sure. Do a mommy and me class. Mommy and me classes are great.
Okay. Yeah. Last part of this, I put together this little game. It's called torch or tin. So torch is like, you think it's awesome. Tin is not so great.
Torch or tin?
Where's your tin? You know, like the fire emoji where people are like, oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. I've seen the torch. Yeah. The fire. Yeah. I've done the fire emoji,
Yeah,
but I've
that
never
means
done
like
the
that's
tin
awesome.
one. What's the
Well,
tin
tin,
one?
we're just like, tin is just like, yeah, not so great. That's
T-I-N.
not emoji. TIN.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Torch or tin? I got it.
not.
Torch is
Torch or
great.
tin.
Tin is
Okay.
nothing. Okay. Got it.
So I learned recently, like, people have two types of fun. There's type A fun and type B fun. Type A fun is you have fun while you're doing it. So you think type A fun is torture tin. Like, well, you're eating ice cream, you like ice cream. That's fun.
That is a torch.
Torch. Okay. Type B fun. It's fun when it's over.
Tin.
Well, you said that that's how you felt about swimming before, like when I was reading stuff, that you didn't like the training, but swimming, you love the feeling of exhaustion, knowing you got better. That's like that you got a lot of joy out of that type B fun.
Oh my gosh, you're right. But oh my gosh, you did do your homework. Yes.
No,
I
like
hate
so a lot of people who've reached like to reach a high level in any industry, a lot of it's boring to get there.
Yeah.
Boring, but
I hated swimming. I couldn't, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I hated it. But I loved the feeling after it was over with. I did. But I thought it was more like, I craved the feeling of what it was like. I was addicted to the feeling of after practice. But I hated the process. I don't like pain. Who likes pain? Come on. I don't like pain. But when it was over with, the pain was gone. And it was like, oh, this feeling of success that you gave it your all and everything. So yes, on that, I thought it was like eating ice cream you're talking about, I didn't know it was swimming. So there's two
not
different
necessarily
torches and
swimming.
tins.
Yeah, but I meant like that the fun is after it's done. That's the
Like
type
watching
B.
a great movie. Do you like the process of watching a great movie, or do you like it when it's done so you can talk about it?
Okay.
I like it when
I'm gonna say
right. We just watched Mission Impossible. I had loved it but I like the feeling also after, because I love talking about the different scenes with my wife. We both went and saw it and how they did it and the special effects and all this stuff. So, all right, moving on. Sorry. I get what you're saying. Boy, that was a hard one.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that was too involved. I would have said so. So you're basically a torch then, in the type B fun.
Yes.
That is actually fun after it's over. It's not like
yes.
that's the point of it.
Yes.
Kirsty Coventry is president of the IOC.
Right. Torch. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
She's a swimmer.
Do you know her as an Auburn alum too?
Very dear friend. Yes. Great friend. And she's awesome. First female. She's going to do an incredible job. She's going to have to kind of go on a listening tour for about a year, I'm sure, but she'll end up being a great president of IOC, and she's going to be definitely pro athlete. And so she's going to do a great job. I have all the confidence in the world.
Elite alumni, like swimmers, like giving some criticism to their sport. Like not everything they say is positive. I guess like how you would say Phelps is shared.
Oh,
some criticism.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, what sport, what business, what corporation has ever gone a year without a CEO, without somebody in charge? The longest a governing body has ever gone was gymnastics, and that was 6 months. We have gone exactly a year without a CEO. That's not right. and I'm not blaming any individual, but it's not right, especially because, Sarah, this is the most important 4 years in the history of our sport. These 4 years will go down in history as the most important. And we're kind of behind the 8 ball. We're a year into it now. And so we're going to have to play from behind or have to catch up from behind. And it's just not right. We should have done a much better job at getting a CEO in place. Now, does that really affect the swimmers on a daily basis? I'm sure they'll tell you no, but in many ways it does. And it certainly affects the future generations of swimmers. Yeah. So yeah, I think Michael was spot on with what he talked about. Michael and I speak or text with each other daily for the last 6 months about this. All we want to do is try to help. That's all we want to do. We're here to help. We're here to serve. It is what we're trying to tell the sport. Please pick up the phone and call us because we want to help. So I think he had every right to criticize.
Last one, the Rowdy cam. Like when they just show you during races. No. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I say 10. I don't. If I look.
Well, you might be the only person in that 10 group.
And 10 on that one. I hate looking at. I go, oh, I'll look at that, Sarah. And I go, oh my gosh, look at that idiot. He looks like such a fool. I go, oh, wait a second, that's me. I completely zone out of everything except that race, right? So I have no idea what I'm doing. I go back and look at it. I go, I didn't do that. Did I do that? It's like ridiculous. So 10.
Okay, well, I don't know how many people are joining you in that one. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat this afternoon. I appreciate it. I know everyone's going to love to hear what you have to say. Your story's great. Your dedication to swimming, to, you know what it is? It's not swimming. It's making people feel good about their lives, encourage people, motivate people, support people. It's a community.
It is. And you know what? You'll always be my sister. We have, this is a family, and I just, like I said, I appreciate all you've meant to the Olympic movement, and it's so cool being able to be on with you. It really is. And congratulations, Mom. Way to go.
Thank you.
Let me know after everything's said and done. Let me know how things go.
I will. I'll text you a picture. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and join us on this journey. And remember, behind every gold medal is a story worth telling.